Ladies and gents, I'm the one and only DJ Storms. Welcome back to the channel here on YouTube.com. It is Thursday, July 9th, 2020. I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to the rewind for AEW Fyter Fest 2020, night number 2, which of course took place from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida on TNT last night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We got a lot to go over for night 2. I would say night 2 hit a home run. Very good show, but out of the 2 nights, I would say that night 1 was the better night. Of course, night 1 felt like a mini pay-per-view. I loved everything about night 1. I would say night 1 was possibly better than Double or Nothing. Night 2, good show, but we did have some filler material here and there. We did have some things that really left me questioning what they're going to do leading into the rest of July, going into August, and then eventually into All Out. We actually had a tease. We actually had a tease on Twitter. Now, before we get into the review, we actually had a tease on Twitter from Lance Archer, teasing him going after the winner of Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley. Now, I'm not sure if they're building towards Moxley and Archer at All Out. I do think that we're going to see Moxley and Archer at some point, and I'm going to talk about that after we talk about Lance Archer and Joey Janela. But first things first, before we get into anything, thank you, as always, for tuning back in. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate all the support, all the feedback that you guys have been giving me. To my haters out there, big fuck you. I'm going to continue to do whatever I want, and you're going to deal with it, because that is what we do here. I do whatever I want, and you deal. Simple as that. My brand. I can do whatever I want. But anyway, before we get into the festivities here on the channel, I need you guys to do me a few things. So first things first, I need you guys to follow me on Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS. Follow me on Instagram and Periscope at TheDJStorms. Add me on Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. All links are in the description. If you guys missed the rewind for AEW Fyter Fest night number 1, and if you guys missed the rewind for Great American Bash night number 1 as well, those 2 links are in the description. Please go check them out if you haven't already done so. The rewind for Great American Bash actually did great. That's actually over 30 likes, over 200 views. Great stuff over there. You guys have been keeping it very, very consistent here on the channel. The views have been consistent. The likes have been consistent. I greatly appreciate it. You guys have definitely helped me boost my like goals up. So now my like goal is usually at 30 now. Sometimes we reach, sometimes we don't. Some days it's better, some days it's worse. But regardless, the consistency remains the same. I greatly appreciate it. You guys already know. I greatly appreciate all the support. It really does mean the world to me. We got plenty of content coming this month. I got some collaborations. I will be having a guest on for the rundown for WWE The Horror Show at Extreme Rules is now what they're calling it. Before it was just Extreme Rules. Then it was Extreme Rules The Horror Show. Now it's The Horror Show at Extreme Rules. But we're not here to talk about WWE. We're here to talk about AEW here. A good wrestling product. I need you guys to hit that thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please hit that thumbs up. Try and get this video to 30 thumbs up. Normal goal. And when you hit that thumbs up, you gotta comment down below. And then when you comment down below and you give me your thoughts on Fyter Fest night number 2, then when you comment down below, you gotta hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I need you guys to hit that subscribe button. We need to keep on growing. We need to keep on expanding. We need to keep on collaborating. We need to make connections from all over the wrestling community because everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. Everybody wants a little taste of the Antichrist of the IWC. Who wouldn't? And when you hit that subscribe button, I need you guys to hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. It's the only time where you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination. Beautiful mustache. Nobody else has it as good as I do. But anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion. Let's get straight into the matches here. Night 2, AEW Fyter Fest 2020. So we kicked off the night with Private Party taking on Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. This match, of course, came about because they are taking extra precaution with Jon Moxley since he did come in contact with someone with COVID. He's been tested twice. Both times were negative. He's been quarantined for 2 weeks. Extra safety precautions. You can't really get on him for that. You gotta respect Tony Khan in that regard for looking out for the health and safety of his employees. I greatly respect him in that regard. But this in itself was a great World Tag Team Championship match. Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, they have been doing some excellent stuff as the World Tag Team Champions. I don't even understand how anyone can shit on Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. How you cannot enjoy great tag team wrestling. How you cannot enjoy the storyline that they're telling here with Kenny and Hangman. Especially after a match like that. After we're getting matches like this, if you're telling me you're not enjoying this, man, you really got something wrong with you. But this was a great World Tag Team Championship title match. We had a silly string DDT to Kenny. Kenny was really, I'm not sure if he's just selling or if he's really getting hurt here, but every single time Kenny Omega gets dropped on his head, it looks fucking ridiculous. So we had a silly string DDT on Kenny, planting him on the top of his head. We had Hangman powerbombing Quinn into the crowd at ringside. Cassidy came in and did a springboard swanton bomb onto Page and some of the wrestlers in the crowd who came over the barricade to try and help out Quinn. We had a double Spanish fly on Omega. Looked a little sloppy, but it was a double Spanish fly nonetheless for a 2. Cassidy with a sling blade backbreaker. Yes, exactly how I read it. A sling blade backbreaker. Looked great. Kenny sold it beautifully. Big tornado kick by Cassidy. Page came in off the hot tag. Big powerbomb to Quinn onto Cassidy for a 2. We had a big moonsault to Kenny Omega on the outside. Quinn missed the 450. Cassidy with a swinging flatliner over the top rope onto the ramp. Beautiful shooting star press by Mark Quinn onto Page, but Omega barely got in to save the match. This close. Thought we were going to have new tag team champions right there. Page with the powerbomb onto Quinn from the middle rope, and then we had the last call to Isaiah Cassidy for the 1, 2, 3. Great World Tag Team Championship match. Private Party looked great. Kenny and Hangman, they have not had one bad match since becoming champions. Every single match that they have had, they have knocked it out of the park time and time and time again. Again, I'm going to state, if you do not find enjoyment in such great tag team wrestling like this, then I don't even consider you a fucking wrestling fan to begin with. And truth be told, I don't have any respect for you. I don't have any respect for anyone, but that's a different story for a different time. But regardless, great World Tag Team Championship match. Right team won. They are playing out this storyline beautifully. You can definitely see the cracks starting to build. You can see the different demeanor within Adam Hangman Page. The heel turn is coming. The heel turn will come at All Out 2 on September 5th. I am predicting it right now. All Out 2. We are going to see Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page lose the World Tag Team Championships to the Dark Order. I've been predicting the Dark Order for a while. I thought that we were going to see the Dark Order do it before Double or Nothing, but of course we had the quarantine. They fell out of the rankings. Now they're currently back in the rankings at number 2, I believe. I believe they may be in number 1 in the coming weeks. And if that's the case, I could definitely see Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega losing the World Tag Team Championships to none other than the Dark Order. And the Dark Order is going to look that much better off in the end. Dark Order is going to win. They're the perfect team to take the titles off of Kenny and Hangman. And we're going to see Adam Hangman Page turn on Omega at All Out, leading to the feud at Full Gear to close out 2020. They are playing it out very, very nicely. They have taken their time with it. They are having a great World Tag Team Championship reign, and we're getting some great World Tag Team Championship matches. I can't complain. Again, if you're complaining, you're just doing it to be an asshole. Lance Archer and Joey Janela. Now, a lot of people did not expect too much out of this match. To be quite honest, I didn't either. And to be quite honest, I actually thought it was going to be a squash but these two actually went 11, 12 minutes, and they actually gave you a damn good match that really didn't have any right to be as good as it was. I'm going to tell you right now, this match did not have any right to be as good as it was, but these two actually delivered a very fun match. Lance Archer came down to the ring with Sonny Kiss, and he just threw Sonny Kiss at each other. This is probably one of my new favorite things about All Elite Wrestling. Whenever Lance Archer is wrestling, it's just fun to see what type of random dude he comes out beating the shit out of this week. My favorite moment in Lance Archer's AEW career thus far is from Double or Nothing, where he came out, he chokeslammed that one guy. I believe he chokeslammed Shawn Dean. He either chokeslammed Shawn Dean or Lee Johnson. And I remember when he chokeslammed him, all you see is Jake Roberts in the background shuffling. Funniest thing I've ever fucking seen. So, he came out with Sonny Kiss, threw Sonny Kiss at Janela. The match began. Archer was just toying with Janela, uncorking some chops on him. We had Joey doing a big diving crossbody on Archer from the top. Joey brought out a table. Joey wasted too much time, though, with a chair. The ref was trying to take the chair out of his hand. Archer took over control. He was egging Janela on to slap him in the face, and then he just bear palmed him. One bear palm, and Janela's down. So Janela, he tried to mount the comeback, clothesline after clothesline. Janela countered the blackout with a falling lariat, super kick, bicycle knee strike. Jake was trying to distract the referee. He was trying to get in with that bag, that snake bag that he had. This allowed Janela and Kiss to work together to take out Lance Archer. We had a big diving elbow drop by Joey Janela and then a 450 by Sonny. Now, I hate Sonny Kiss, but this was actually a pretty exciting moment here. Archer kicked out, though, of both double team moves. Unfortunately for Janela, that was the last gasp of hope as Janela suffered a blackout off of the apron through a table, and Archer wins. Janela, he is excellent. He is legit as you can get. Joey Janela is legit. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, Joey Janela knows how to work. Joey Janela knows how to work. Joey Janela made Lance Archer look great here. Lance Archer, he's coming along very, very nicely. And you know what? Him losing to Cody, I don't even mind, because I have a feeling that whether it's against Jon Moxley for the title or without the title or not, we are going to see Jon Moxley and Lance Archer, and that's going to enhance Lance Archer tenfold, and we could very well see Lance Archer as TNT champion or world champion by 2021, maybe the summer of 2021. Lance Archer's got a bright future. He's got a bright future. He's been doing some great stuff in All Elite Wrestling thus far. Damn good match here with Joey Janela. Wasn't perfect, but Janela made Lance Archer look great, and Lance Archer walks out of this thing the victor. Right man won. Damn good match here. It didn't have any right to be as good as it was. And to be quite honest, I really thought it was just going to be a 4-minute squash, but they did a very good job making both men look good. Lance Archer wins. So Taz and Brian Cage made their major announcement. They said they had a major announcement. They made their way out to the ring. Taz brought out the FTW World Championship. He said, wrestling fans worldwide recognize that the man that holds this is the baddest son of a bitch on the planet, and he crowned Cage the FTW World Champion. So it's going to be champ versus champ next week at Fight for the Fallen, which I will be doing a rewind on. I will be doing a separate rewind on Fight for the Fallen. Now, my initial thought when they brought this out, I'm like, this is probably just a nice passing of the torch moment, and that's going to be it. I don't really think they need a 5th championship, but apparently they're promoting this for next week. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I don't like the fact that they brought it back and now we have a 5th champion in Brian Cage. Realistically speaking, what value does the FTW World Championship hold in 2020? I don't really like this at all. I don't like the fact that it's going to become a 5th championship in All Elite Wrestling, because again, it doesn't really, the company in itself doesn't really need it. Brian Cage doesn't need to be a champion now. If you want to just have this for Brian Cage as an enhancement and then just leave it at that, then fine. Fine. But at the end of the day, I don't think Brian Cage needs this, because ultimately Brian Cage is going to have something to do after he inevitably loses to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is not losing the World Championship to Brian Cage. He's either losing the World Championship at All Out to MJF or at Full Gear to MJF. Excuse me. Jon Moxley is losing the title to MJF at the end of the day. Whether he faces Lance Archer at All Out and then MJF at Full Gear, that remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. But regardless of that, Brian Cage is not taking the World Championship off him. Brian Cage does not need to be a champion this early in his AEW career. And to be quite honest with you, it almost feels as like they're just putting this title on Brian Cage because after the feud with Darby, they really don't have anything to do with him. Right now, I really think that they need to work with the roster members that they have. They don't really want to overload their roster because even though that they've been doing a great job at giving everyone a proper role in the company, and they've been doing a great job at utilizing everyone, which I appreciate. They've been utilizing everyone. I can appreciate that. But at the end of the day, if you overload your roster, you're going to end up with people that you don't know what to do with. You're going to run out of ideas at some point. Although I trust Tony Khan. Tony Khan hasn't given me a reason not to trust him. But I think that it's a nice passing of the torch moment, but it should not be a permanent thing. And I don't think they need to have Darby Allin come in and take the title off of Brian Cage if this is going to be a permanent thing. Realistically, you could have a feud between Brian Cage and Darby Allin without the FTW World Championship. I don't really understand why you need to bring in a 5th championship when you already have 4 championships with plenty of roster members to utilize with their with numerous amounts of championship title matches that you can switch back and forth between. I mean, just look at the championship matches that Cody has had for the TNT Championship. Look at the opponents that they're lining up for Jon Moxley. You're giving everyone a proper chance. You're giving everyone a fair chance to see what they can do in championship title pictures. You don't need to add another championship just because you're afraid that that people are going to stop caring about a certain someone. You should have confidence in yourself that you can book this certain someone, like a Brian Cage or a Lance Archer or Darby Allin or whoever. You should have faith in yourself that you should be able to book these superstars with the proper amount of momentum that people would continue to care. You don't need to enhance someone with a 5th championship or a 6th championship. I really hope they don't overload the championships. Because right now, 4 championships, that's enough. When they start expanding and they start gaining more traction and they get another show during the week, possibly another championship. But right now, I really hope this does not become a championship, a permanent championship that is to be defended. I really hope that this is just an enhancement for Brian Cage. But Brian Cage is not winning the World Championship next week. You had the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Bros versus FTR and the Young Bucks. This was a very, very fun 8-man tag. Realistically, all you needed was the last 5 minutes of this 8-man tag. It was sloppy at times, but this was still very fun nonetheless. We had a surprising ending, actually, which we'll talk about. We actually got to the surprising ending with a lot of fast-paced moves. We had a crazy Hurricane Rana by Nick to Rey Fenix off the top. They go to picture-in-picture. Matt with the double crossbody. Shiranui for a 2. Dax got the tag. Big DDT to the Blade. The Butcher came in. Double super kicks to the Butcher by Dax and Matt. And then we had the Goodnight Express by Wheeler and Nick. So both teams were doing each other's moves together. Almost like in anything you can do, I can do better shit. But it's not as cringy like the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. So we had a spike pile driver, but Pentagon got in to save the match, but he got sent to the post. So we had a big pile on the outside. We had a huge double superplex, splash by Wheeler, sent on by Nick, but Phoenix jumped onto Matt, and they fell onto the pinning predicament between Nick and, who was it? I believe it was the Blade, and that broke up the pin. And you can clearly see that the ref was doing a slow 2 count so Rey Fenix could get to that spot. It was a little ridiculous at times. Again, these were the sloppy portions of the match. We had Phoenix doing a Canadian Destroyer to Matt onto the pile on the floor. Fucking crazy spot right there. Then we had an accidental super kick to Dax by mistake, modified pile driver on Nick Jackson, I believe it was, and the Lucha Bros, the Butcher and the Blade, actually end up winning this match. Lucha Bros win their first match back, their first major match back since returning. I was actually surprised by this ending. I legitimately thought that we were going to see the Young Bucks and FTR get the victory, But apparently they used this match to continue to build a little bit more tension between FTR and the Young Bucks, leading towards the eventual match, which I believe is going to take place at All Out 2 in September. So at the end of the day, if they use this to build tension, I don't mind. I really don't mind. Lucha Bros look great. The Butcher and the Blade get a much-needed win because the Butcher and the Blade, they've realistically been used as glorified enhancement talents, so to speak, because they've been putting on some great matches, don't get me wrong. Butcher and the Blade, they've been putting on some great matches here and there, but they've been doing nothing but losing the major matches. Now this is their first major match on a major quote-unquote pay-per-view or a special event for All Elite Wrestling, and here they're on the winning team with the Lucha Bros. So, in a sense, it does make them look good. Lucha Bros win their first major match back. The Young Bucks take the pin. Again, the Young Bucks took the pin. FTR did not take the pin. So therefore, FTR was protected. FTR was protected. They have not taken a pinfall loss. Matt and Nick Jackson were the ones that technically took the pinfall loss. And at the end, it built tension between FTR and the Young Bucks. They actually shook hands afterwards. So, you can clearly see the interesting route that they're playing off with the Young Bucks and FTR. The eventual match at All Out, I believe, is mainly going to be built on respect. FTR is going to win that. FTR will go on to win the World Tag Team Championships, and we're going to see FTR and the Young Bucks win the World Tag Team Championships, or for the World Tag Team Championships, in the main event of a pay-per-view at some point. Possibly in 2021. I believe that they're going to wait until they got crowds back, but we're going to have the first tag team match between FTR and the Young Bucks, 2-on-2, just regularly. No tag team championships. That, I believe, is going to take place at All Out. But this was very fun. Butcher and the Blade, they get a much-needed major win. Lucha Bros win their first major match back. The tension is building between FTR and the Young Bucks. I can't really complain about that. Filler match of the show. The filler match, the enhancement match of the show, was Nyla Rose versus Kenzie Page and Kylan King. Nyla, she toyed with Page. Kylan King got the tag. German suplex to Page, spear to King, fall-away slam to Page onto King, and then a beast bomb to Page onto King for the win. Nyla Rose looking as dominant as ever. She took the microphone afterwards, and my initial thought was that she was going to challenge Shida next week at Fight for the Fallen, because Shida was watching. Shida was in the crowd with the Women's Championship after successfully defending it against Penelope Ford last week. And I really thought that we were going to see a rematch from Double or Nothing between Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. But Nyla actually took the microphone. She said that actions speak louder than words. She looks in the back and she sees all these wrestlers with managers. She says that she has hired a manager. And she says that all of these wrestlers with managers have one thing in common. Cody's a champion. Hell, Brian Cage just showed up and he's already a champion. Her manager will ensure that she will lead AEW once again as the Women's World Champion. Now, I was actually shocked by this. I was shocked by this because, again, like I stated, I thought that she was going to challenge Hikaru Shida in a rematch from Double or Nothing, but apparently she has announced that she has gotten herself a manager. Now, I don't really mind that, but something in my mind is just telling me that Nyla Rose, she doesn't really need a manager because she has enough intensity on the microphone as it is. Now, if she does get a manager, I definitely wouldn't mind it, but I just feel like it's a bit unnecessary. I feel as though AEW is doing a WWE type thing. They're trying to fix something that isn't really broke. Nyla Rose doesn't even need a manager right now. Nyla Rose is there, and she is going to be used to enhance Hikaru Shida's Women's World Championship reign. Nyla Rose isn't going to be Women's World Champion again, possibly until the end of next year. Nyla Rose doesn't need to be Women's World Champion again. Hikaru Shida is the main focus of the women's division right now. Now, I don't necessarily mind it because it's adding another storyline to the women's division. I don't really know who it is. I saw some people throwing around some things on Twitter. Some people were throwing around Vicky Guerrero. I hope it's not Vicky Guerrero because, honestly, we don't need Vicky Guerrero on All Elite Wrestling. Some people were throwing around Medusa. I'm not sure if that's the case. We'll definitely find out. I truthfully don't know who it is. I have absolutely no idea. But, I guess that's a good thing in a sense. The unpredictability factor with All Elite Wrestling, that's what makes All Elite Wrestling so great. Because the unpredictability factor is high, but it's a good unpredictability factor based on the track record that All Elite Wrestling has given to us. I don't really know who's going to be Nyla Rose's manager. If you guys have any idea who Nyla Rose's manager is going to be, please comment down below. SCU versus Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, and Colt Cabana. So before the picture-in-picture in this six-man tag, Brody Lee hit a nasty half-and-half suplex on Scorpio Sky. Looked like he planted him right on the top of his head. It looked fucking brutal. So Cabana, he came in with the Flying Apple, Michinoku driver by Mr. Brody. Grayson with the splash for a 2. Sky hit the Hangman's neck breaker. Hot tag to Kazarian. Springboard swinging DDT on Brody. We had a big tag to Daniels. Big boot to Daniels. Super kick to Frankie. Grayson with a gourd buster drop. Cutter on Grayson by Frankie. Black hole slam on Frankie. Tope by Christopher Daniels on Brody, and then the best moonsault ever on Stu, but Colt Cabana broke it up. We had a big discus lariat on Daniels, and then they tagged in Colt, and Colt got the win. Good match. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't necessarily bad. The match wasn't necessarily bad. The match was very good. All 6 men worked hard. But at the end of the day, I've said this before, this storyline with the Dark Order, it really doesn't have an end game, in a sense. Or at least a good end game. And what I mean by that is, I've said this before, and I've asked the question, who in the Dark Order is going to go on to achieve legitimate success? And I mean championships. Because ultimately, that's what you are there for, right? You're there to be a champion. You are there in All Elite Wrestling to be a champion. That's what you are there for as a professional wrestler. If you are not in the wrestling business to be a champion, then get out of the fucking wrestling business. So realistically speaking, who in the Dark Order is going to become a champion? Who in the Dark Order is going to go on to achieve legitimate success outside of Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno? I've said it before. Brody Lee's going to be TNT champion one day. Brody Lee's going to be world champion one day. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, they're going to be tag team champions one day. What about Alan Angels? What about Preston Vance? Or John Silver? Alex Reynolds? If Colt Cabana joins the Dark Order, who cares? Because are they really going to go on to achieve legitimate success? I don't think so. And I can't see them going on to achieve legitimate success. Realistically speaking, those who join the Dark Order, if you're not Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, or Brody Lee, you're really not going anywhere. Yeah, you may get wins, and Colt Cabana, is winning. But at the end of the day, is he going anywhere? No. And realistically speaking, he doesn't need to go anywhere. Colt Cabana realistically is a veteran there used to put people over. He doesn't need to be winning championships this late in his career. So at the end of the day, this storyline is pointless. It's a pointless storyline, and it's not going to go anywhere. And I've really made it clear that I hate that this storyline is the main focus of the Dark Order. When in reality, the main focus of the Dark Order should be Stu Grayson and Evil Uno taking the tag team titles off of Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, since they are actually going to be ranked number 1 really, really soon. They're going to get a few more wins here and there, and they're going to be number 1. Private Party, they lost. I believe they were ranked number 3. Best Friends, they just lost their tag team title match. They were ranked number 1. Now they're going to slide down. Private Party's going to slide down. Dark Order's been undefeated this year. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno have not lost a damn match this year. I believe they're like 7-0. So, realistically, they should be number 1. They're the new number 1 contenders. Why isn't that storyline the main focus of the Dark Order? Why are we seeing this storyline with Colt Cabana play out on Fyter Fest, nonetheless? It was a good match, don't get me wrong. Good match, but ultimately, I didn't care in the end. Good match, but ultimately, the storyline is pointless. The storyline is meaningless. No one in the Dark Order outside of those 3 that I just named are going anywhere. So again, the Dark Order is pretty much a pointless faction outside of those 3. And I really don't like how they're trying to recruit wrestlers, and they're really hampering these wrestlers down in a sense. Oh yeah, they're joining the Dark Order. Yeah, I guess it plays up to the Dark Order moniker, but at the end of the day, what purpose is it? What purpose is it going to serve? I don't see any purpose in joining the Dark Order unless you're Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno. Those three are the main focus. You should make them the main focus. You don't need Colt Cabana being the main focus. You don't need Alan Angels or Preston Vance. You don't need 5 or 6 guys swarming the ring. No one is going anywhere in All Elite Wrestling outside of those 3 that I named. No one. Good match. I just didn't care about the storyline. So Fight for the Fallen's next week. Cody will be defending the TNT Championship at Fight for the Fallen. I got no problem with that. I got a problem that it's against Sonny Kiss. Look, Sonny Kiss is athletic as you can get. He's not bad in the ring, but I just hate the presentation of his character. I hate the presentation of his character, and I cannot fucking stand how many times he fucking screams every single time he's getting his ass kicked in the ring. I can't stand it. I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong, but I really don't care about this match because of Sonny Kiss. I thought that they were going to do Sabian. However, this match I do care about. FTR and the Lucha Bros, which I'm very much looking forward to. And I can see FTR coming out victorious there. They are building up FTR very, very nicely. Fight for the Fallen looks stacked. We have the Elite, Kenny and the Bucks taking on the Jurassic Express. That should be a very fun 6-man tag. I believe the Elite are going to come out victorious there. And then, of course, we have Jon Moxley and Brian Cage for the AEW World Championship. I believe that Jon Moxley will be coming out victorious. And I do believe that he's going to have one more title defense before All Out. I'm still predicting MJF at All Out. But I do believe he's going to have one more match before then for the World Championship. And I do believe it is going to be against the man that actually won the main event of Night 2. Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. This match went almost 20 minutes, and this match was excellent. This was undoubtedly the best matchup of the entire night. Realistically, if you wanted to go back and watch 1 or 2 matches, you could have watched the opening match, and you could have watched the main event. Everything else in between, it was good. It was good. It was fun. But ultimately, if you wanted a must-see match, the main event was your must-see match. This was an excellent match. Chris Jericho, he made Orange Cassidy look like $1,000,000 in this. This was excellent in every sense of the word. So Orange Cassidy, and you know, let me tell you something that I love about Orange Cassidy is that he changed his demeanor. He was serious. He was angry. He was focused, but he still kept that lackadaisical character. He still kept that King of Sloth style character that he's possessed for so long. And it really takes a special kind of individual to maintain a character like that, but yet change his demeanor so you know that he's focused, but yet he still remains in that type of character. That right there, that just goes to show you how good Orange Cassidy is. And we were talking with me and Earl Cole, we were talking about how Orange Cassidy, he can do both sides of the coin. He can play the lackadaisical character, but when he has you in a prime position and when you think that he is just plain lazy, he plays possum and he gets you, and he did that with Jericho here. Orange Cassidy with a big drop kick and suicide dive right out of the gate on Jericho. Cassidy sending Jericho into the barricade. Big diving crossbody before Jericho took over with the walls. Cassidy got to the rope, but Ortiz with the mad ball to the back of Orange Cassidy. So Jericho, he got caught with a few roll-ups by Cassidy, but then Jericho countered with a baseball slide, sending Cassidy into the barricade, going into picture-in-picture. Jericho with a shoulder tackle, sending Cassidy into the barricade again. Cassidy came back with some big forearm strikes. He was laying in the heavy forearm strikes to Le Champion. We had a big Hurricane Rana to Jericho. And then Orange Cassidy. This is actually my favorite part here. And I actually hope that this becomes a regular thing with Orange Cassidy. Jericho was dazed. Cassidy put his hands in his pocket. He did the light shin kicks. And then he winds up and does a big light shin kick, like a super kick to the shin. A light super kick to the shin. But this time, Orange Cassidy delivered a legitimate super kick right to the jaw of Jericho. But Jericho was able to kick out of that. Cassidy with a big splash for a very close 2 count. Big diving DDT on Jericho for another close 2 count. Superman forearm was countered into the walls. Cassidy reversed it though. Big forearm dropped Jericho, and both men were down before Santana threw orange juice in Cassidy's face. And then the best friends came out. They sent Proud and Powerful packing. Chris Jericho then hit Cassidy with the bat, Floyd the Bat, behind the referee's back, and hit a code breaker, but Cassidy still kicked out. Cassidy still kicked out. Jericho doesn't know what to make of it. Cassidy kicked out. Jericho, he missed the lion salt, and Cassidy nailed him with a big Meishinuku driver, but Jericho still kicked out. Big stun dog millionaire by Cassidy. Satellite DDT planting Jericho on the top of his head for yet another close 2 count. Cassidy went for another Superman forearm, but Chris Jericho hit the Judas effect, and Chris Jericho wins an excellent main event between himself and Orange Cassidy. Undoubtedly the best matchup of night 2, but if we're talking about the best matchup of the entire 2-night event, I'm going to have to go with the opening tag team match between MJF, Wardlow, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy. This match does come at a close second, though. Jericho wins an excellent main event between himself and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy looks like $1 million. Orange Cassidy, he didn't need the win. And I'm going to tell you why he didn't need the win right now. Orange Cassidy is young. He's got all the time in the world. He's got 15 years left in the business. Jericho right now, he is undefeated in singles competition since losing the World Championship to Jon Moxley. He's currently in the top 5 rankings. Jon Moxley is not losing the World Championship to Brian Cage. Chris Jericho still needs to get his rematch. I truthfully do think that we are going to see Jericho and Jon Moxley in a rematch for the AEW World Championship possibly next month. That's what I feel as though this is building towards, because Jericho still needs to get his rematch. So I do think that we are going to see Jericho and Jon Moxley for the World Championship, and Jon Moxley is going to get one more title defense in there before he eventually loses the World Championship to Maxwell Jacob Friedman. But overall, very good show, but night 1 of Fyter Fest was definitely better. There was a lot more filler on the show than there was on night 1. Night 1 felt like a pay-per-view. But, obviously we had the Taz promo, we had Nyla Rose's squash match, the Dark Order 6-man tag team match. Again, it was good, but again, the storyline, it's pretty much a shrug of the shoulder storyline. But nevertheless, very good show here for All Elite Wrestling. They're doing some great stuff. Again, I've stated, if you're complaining about All Elite Wrestling, if you're telling me you didn't enjoy this, you're really just being an asshole. You're really just being negative. And let me tell you something. I never say that, and I've been called negative dozens and dozens of times, thousands of times ever since I started this. Trust me on that. But let me tell you something. This, very little to be negative about with All Elite Wrestling right now. Obviously, they got a lot of work to do, but this was a very good show. Night 1 of Fyter Fest, though, was better. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the rewind for AEW Fyter Fest 2020, night number 2. Thank you all for joining. I greatly appreciate it. Check out all the links in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tomorrow, early in the morning, well, not too early, but regardless, we are going to start off the morning quite right, because we are going to have a live premiere of the rewind for NXT, the Great American Bash, night number 2. And that is going to take place at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. And then, of course, we get the Lightning Flash update on Saturday afternoon. Next week's also a busy week. We got the rundown for Extreme Rules, or the horror show at Extreme Rules. We got my 3-year anniversary coming up on July 16th. Yes, July 16th. I got a Q&A video. I've had a lot of great questions being asked. So if you want to ask me some questions, please hit me up. All my social medias are in the description. Hit me up with any questions that you want. I'll be sure to shout you out. And that is going to premiere live on Thursday. And then, of course, next Friday is, of course, the rewind for AEW Fight for the Fallen 2020. Lightning Flash update, of course, next Saturday as well. And then on the 20th, it is the rewind for the horror show at Extreme Rules 2020. A lot of content coming this month. I got a few collaborations coming as well. Lots of good stuff to come for the DJ Storms brand, ladies and gentlemen. But nevertheless, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the rewind for AEW Fyter Fest 2020 Night 2. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning for the rewind for the Great American Bash Night 2. Lightning Flash update on Saturday. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. You guys have an awesome week. Stay safe. Stay cool as well, because it is fucking humid outside. but I'll catch you guys tomorrow.